My best friend and I both became pregnant with Lu Huan's child at the same time. My husband, who always loved me like his own life, cried in front of me for the first time. Ran, it's my fault. 2 months ago, when I was on a business trip in Yincheng, I got drunk and accidentally touched Shu. The child will be raised by my parents after it's born. We'll keep doing what we always did. I won't disappoint you. That business trip in Yincheng happened to be my birthday. It was the first time I celebrated my birthday alone. The man I loved most was doing something very intimate with my best friend. I held back my tears and silently put the pregnancy test results back into my bag. Lu Huan, let's get a divorce. I no longer want that child anymore. What? You actually want to divorce me because of this? I didn't expect him to mention divorce at all. Lu Huan was very surprised. Ran, stop making trouble. You can't get pregnant. My parents always hoped to have a grandson. Since Shu is already pregnant, let her have the baby. This won't affect our relationship at all, and it will also fulfill my parents' wishes. Isn't that great? I watched the man in front of me with a cold look in my eyes, unable to suppress a mocking smile. Lu Huan always had a good taste for alcohol. He could drink 1,000 glasses without getting drunk. But why did he get drunk that night? And I clearly remember that night when I called him. I could hear a woman's suggestive voice coming from the other side. Before I could think about it further, Luo Shu stepped forward with red eyes, looking at me pitifully. Ran, I'm sorry. I know I deserve to die for my sins. But the doctor said that if I terminate this pregnancy, it will be very difficult for me to get pregnant again. So, I hope you can let me keep this child. Don't worry, I definitely won't compete with you for her. Luo Shu kept talking non-stop, but I had no desire to listen anymore. At that moment, her voice suddenly overlapped with the voice of the woman from that night. So, Lu Huan wasn't drunk at all that night, and by the time I called, the two of them were already together. Thinking about this, I felt extremely disgusted. Without hesitation, I raised my hand and slapped her. Zhou Xinran, what are you doing? Lu Huai immediately protected Luo Shu behind him, looking at me with a furious expression. Luo Shu is pregnant. What are you doing to her? This time, I might let it go, but next time, I won't tolerate it anymore. His cold words were like invisible punches, hitting me hard. In the past, Lu Huai never dared to say anything harsh to me, but now, he was acting like a madman because of Luo Shu. He promised to treat me well for the rest of his life. Since when did he become like this? I couldn't help but ask. Lu Huai, were you really drunk that night? I don't know what came to mind. Lu Huai evaded my gaze. Feeling guilty, he tried to speak, but then Luo Shu suddenly cried out in pain. Ah, my stomach hurts so much. Hearing this, Lu Huai turned around without saying a word. I picked up Luo Shu and ran out of the door, without even looking back, watching their figures disappear into the distance. My heart became completely cold. 3 years of marriage was finally coming to an end. Lu Huan and I were college classmates. From the first moment we met, we fell in love instantly and became lovers. But my father never liked Lu Huan at all. He said that Lu Huan wasn't right for me, that he couldn't bring me happiness. But at that time, I was completely in love with Lu Huan, and I didn't pay any attention to those words. To support Lu Huan's business venture, I gave up my status as a wealthy girl and went with him to set up his stall. My father, in a fit of anger, cut off all contact with me and went abroad, never to contact me again. I took out my phone and dialed that familiar number. The phone rang for a long time, but no one answered. I knew without a doubt that my father was still angry with me. My father had always been in poor health, and I had said many things that made him angry in the past. Thinking of all this, I couldn't help but start crying. After calming my mood a little, I began to pack my things. There weren't many items to pack, and it took only a short while for me to finish. I subconsciously touched my stomach. The child was already 8 weeks old. But in any case, this child couldn't be kept any longer. I pushed the suitcase downstairs. But what I saw below was something extremely shocking. Lu Huai was holding a spoon, feeding Luo Shu porridge like a mother feeding a child. Okay, take a little bite. Okay, if you don't eat, the baby in your belly will also be hungry. Luo Shu shook her head and said with a teasing tone. No, I don't want to eat. This porridge smells so bad that I feel like vomiting. Lu Huai wasn't upset at all. He gently stroked her hair and said with a smile. Shu, what do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. Luo Shu tilted her head for a moment, then glanced at me with a provocative smile. I want to eat mushroom chicken porridge. At the end, she added, I want it to be made by Ran Ran. The mushroom chicken porridge she makes is the best. Lu Huai followed her gaze and saw me. He didn't seem to mind at all when he saw me. Ran Ran, Shu Shu isn't feeling like eating because she's pregnant. Please make her some mushroom chicken porridge. Luo Shu touched her stomach, and naturally continued the conversation. Ran Ran, thank you for your hard work. The baby in your belly will definitely be grateful to you. The two of them looked so affectionate, as if they were a loving couple. I seemed to have heard nothing and simply walked away, pushing my luggage along. But before I could walk far, Luo Hua stepped forward, grabbing my hand with a mix of anger and helplessness. Ran Ran, at this time of day, what are you doing? Luo Shu also rushed forward, speaking in a pitiful tone. Ran Ran, I just wanted to eat the porridge you made by myself. Please don't be angry, okay? I glared at Luo Shu, seeing the mocking smile in her eyes. A mistress like you deserves something cooked by me. To my surprise, Luo Shu's eyes immediately reddened. I'm sorry, Ran Ran. Seeing Luo Shu cry, Luo Hua became furious immediately. Ran Ran, hurry up and apologize to Shu Shu. Otherwise, I won't forgive you. I raised my hand and gave Lu Huai a severe slap. Lu Huai, if you've already had an affair, that's one thing. But to expect me to serve you as a concubine? Never mind that. After hearing my words, Lu Huai's face showed several complex emotions. After a long while, he finally looked at me and said calmly, Ran Ran, I know you can't accept this right now. I'll give you time to adjust to it. Anyway, I definitely want to keep this child with me. Before he could finish his sentence, I took out the divorce agreement that I had prepared in advance from my bag, and shoved it right in his face. Lu Huai, this is the divorce agreement. Sign it now. Lu Huai picked up the divorce agreement from the ground, looking at me in disbelief. You really want to divorce me because of this? Lu Huai, from the moment you had an affair, there's no way we can be together anymore. Lu Huai clenched his fists and torn up the divorce agreement in his hands. Ran Ran, I definitely won't get divorced. I just want to give my parents a grandson. My love for you will never change. Seeing that he remained stubborn, I didn't want to argue anymore. It's your choice. I'll just ask a lawyer to file a lawsuit later. With that said, I grabbed my suitcase and left. Lu Huai stood up, ready to catch up to me. But Luo Shu, behind me, quickly called out to him. Huai, I'm hungry. Lu Huai hesitated for a long time, but in the end, he didn't follow up. Although I had expected this, my heart still hurt. This was the man I loved for 7 years. For him, I was willing to break up with my father. I was even willing to give up my status as a wealthy young lady. From being a young lady who never touched even a drop of water, to becoming a well-rounded housewife. Even when starting my own business, I suffered greatly, and it became difficult for me to get pregnant again. I still remember the moment I learned this news. Lu Huai hugged me, heartbroken, and promised me that it didn't matter if we didn't have children, that he would love me for a lifetime. But reality was harsh enough to hit me hard. Less than a year later, he changed. Looking back on the past, tears blurred my vision. A vibration came from my phone. I opened it to see a message from Lu Huai. Ran Ran, as I'm pregnant, I need to spend more time taking care of her. Don't worry, I will be right by your side after she gives birth to the child. I've been asking someone to keep cleaning the villa in the western suburbs. You can stay there for now. I will come to see you later. I deleted Lu Huai without showing any emotion. I didn't go to his villa either. Instead, I booked a hotel instead. I also contacted a lawyer to handle the matters related to the divorce. After that day, Lu Huai stopped contacting me. However, I still occasionally saw news about him and Luo Shu on social media. They were enjoying a candlelit dinner on a romantic island, kissing tenderly on the Ferris wheel, and watching fireworks shows on a luxury yacht. Luo Shu even openly shared the good news of her pregnancy on social media, and she even posted several photos of Lu Huai with only half of his face visible. Mr. Lu, please let me know how to live the rest of my life with you. Lu Shua is a well-known self-media blogger, with millions of followers. In just a short time, her post received thousands of likes and blessings. Years ago, Lu Shua was just the daughter of my nanny, Aunt Huang. Aunt Huang passed away due to a serious illness. I felt very sorry for Lu Shua, who had no family at such a young age. So, I pleaded with my father to let Lu Shua live with us. I treated her like my own sister, giving her everything she wanted. But somehow, Lu Shua changed. She started competing with me for things, clothing, dresses, even men. A woman's sixth sense is always very accurate. When she started approaching Lu Huai, I subtly warned him. Lu Huai promised earnestly that he wouldn't do anything that would hurt me. But soon, the two became involved together. They even had a child together. It's ridiculous. I carefully saved the screenshots of her posts and blocked her. After doing that, I went to the hospital for a preoperative checkup. While waiting for the results, I happened to meet Lu Huai and Lu Shua. The two of them came for a prenatal checkup. Lu Huai carefully protected Luo Shu throughout the entire process, fearing that she might suffer any kind of harm. The nurse beside them couldn't help but say with envy, "Madam, your husband is so kind to you. Few expectants are as meticulous as him." Luo Shu smiled proudly. "Of course. My husband is the best to me." Lu Huai didn't deny it. Instead, he smiled affectionately at Luo Shu. "You're working so hard during this pregnancy. It's only natural for him to be so good to you." The picture of their loving relationship deeply touched my heart. At that moment, I really wanted to step forward and give them a slap. Then, I would tell everyone that those two were just a couple of losers. But my legs felt like they were under surveillance, and I couldn't move at all. Ran, what are you doing here?" Just as I was lost in thought, Luo Shu suddenly called out to me. She walked over with a smile on her face, looking worried. Ran, where have you been all this time? I was so worried for you. I really wanted to go look for you, but Huai saw that I was suffering from severe morning sickness. He thought I might be in a bad mood, so he took me out to enjoy some time together. Are you okay? Seeing Luo Shu's insincere expression, I said directly, Luo Shu, there are no outsiders here. You don't need to pretend anymore. Luo Shu was momentarily stunned, then looked at me innocently again. Ran, what are you saying? I am your best friend. After all. Luo Shu, do you still have the face to mention the word best friend? I looked at her with a cold smile and said, if it weren't for me getting your father to take you in, you would have gone to the orphanage long ago. You don't even know how to be grateful. Not only that, but you also repay kindness with malice. I wonder what your deceased mother would think if she knew you were so promiscuous and attracted men like that. When the past was mentioned, Luo Shu's face turned fierce immediately. Gu Xinran, don't make yourself sound so great. You took me in just because you wanted to keep me under your control forever. Do you really think you're being kind to me? The Gu family treats me like a dog. I simply can't stand your arrogant attitude. So, I want to take everything from you. I tried to convince myself that there was nothing wrong with our family that could be blamed on her, but I never expected that in her mind, I was actually such a worthless person. Luo Shu, justice should be respected by everyone. I don't want to keep arguing with you. With that, I was about to turn around, but Luo Shu stepped forward and blocked my way. She looked at me from head to toe, then asked curiously, you're coming to the gynecology department, maybe you're pregnant, right? Hearing her words, my heart tightened. Anyway, I really don't want anyone to know about my pregnancy, especially Lu Huai and Luo Shu. Just as I was wondering how to respond, Luo Shu smirked in mockery. Everyone says that pregnant women become stupid after 3 years of pregnancy. Look at my memory, I completely forgot that you're not capable of having children. With that, Luo Shu became even more arrogant. Gu Xinran, what kind of pride do you have in playing around? If you can't even have children, then why bother pretending? A woman who can't even have children is just like a hen that can't lay eggs. What's the use of such a person? Before she could finish her sentence, I raised my hand, ready to slap her. But just as I raised my hand, a pair of strong hands stopped me from hitting her. I looked up and met Lu Huai's furious eyes. Gu Xinran, you already bullied Shu Shu on a regular basis. Did you really go to the hospital just to bully her again? At that moment, it felt like a bucket of cold water was poured over me. My heart felt extremely cold. Lu Huai, you need to understand that it was Shu Shu who insulted me first. That's why I took action. Lu Huai looked confused, hesitating between me and Luo Shu Shu for a while. Before he could say anything, Luo Shu Shu cried out in pain. Huai, Xinran just pushed me. My stomach hurts so much. I wonder what's happened to the baby. Hearing this, Lu Huai suddenly pulled away from me. I couldn't stand steady and fell onto the chair beside me. Unfortunately, my stomach hit the armrest in the process. The intense pain was unbearable. I could hardly control myself and started sweating profusely. When I raised my eyes, I saw Lu Huai carrying Luo Shu in his arms, gently comforting her. "Be good. I'll take you to see a doctor right now." At that moment, I clearly felt blood flowing from my lower abdomen. There was no one else around to help me, except for Lu Huai and Luo Shu. As he was about to leave, I seemed to grasp at a lifeline, weakly calling out to him, "Lu Huai, please help me. I'm pregnant, and there's your child in my belly." Hearing the voice, Lu Huan suddenly turned around, his face filled with a mocking smile. "Gu Xinran, don't say you can't get pregnant. Even if you were pregnant, I wouldn't save you. A woman as vicious as you doesn't deserve to be a mother at all." With that said, Lu Huan turned around and left without looking back. Luo Shu smiled triumphantly at me, as if she was watching a clown. And so, I watched helplessly as the two of them disappeared from my sight little by little. At this moment, blood was all over the floor. My consciousness became increasingly blurred. The words Lu Huan cursed me with kept echoing in my mind. We had been in love for 7 years, and I never thought that the person I loved most would use such vicious words to curse me because of another woman. He knew very well that what I desired most was to be a mother. Yet he still said those cruel words. In my daze, it seemed like my father's figure appeared before my eyes. "Dad, I was wrong. I shouldn't have ignored your words, and I shouldn't have tried to play a trick on you." As soon as I said those 2 words, everything went black around me, and I fainted. When I woke up again, I found myself lying on the hospital bed. When Butler Wong saw that I had awakened, he hurried over and asked, "Miss, you've finally woken up. Do you feel any discomfort?" I shook my head and said, "Butler Wong, I'm fine. Why are you back?" Seeing that I was fine, Butler Wong finally breathed a sigh of relief. "That's good." After a pause, he continued, "Miss, won't tell you, but Mr. has missed you a lot over the years. Although he says he wants to break off relations with you, every time he thinks of you, he keeps your photo in his hand and weeps silently. Several times, he wanted to contact you, but he couldn't bring himself to do so. After you started your own business, he even secretly ended several projects for Lu Huai Company. A few days ago, you called him. In the end, he couldn't bear it anymore and decided to come back to see you. But when he arrived, he found such a scene. You don't know how the gentleman cried when he saw you lying there, covered in blood." Speaking of this, housekeeper Wong couldn't help but choke up as well. "After the accident, the gentleman stayed by your side, unwilling to leave even for a step. It was me who had to go through a lot of effort to persuade him to go back to rest. Miss, please stop arguing with the gentleman from now on." As soon as those words were spoken, the door was pushed open. Dad entered with a tired expression on his face. When he saw me, he was initially stunned, but soon his eyes filled with tears. After several years, Dad had aged significantly. His hair had turned white, and his eyes were covered with wrinkles. His eyes were filled with exhaustion and sorrow. He walked quickly to my bedside, ready to speak, but I hugged him tightly and cried out, "Dad, I was wrong. I'm sorry." Dad was momentarily stunned, but then he hugged me too and started crying along with me. Housekeeper Wong silently walked out, leaving us father and daughter alone. I talked with Dad for a long time. I shared with him all the events that happened from the time I started working together with Lu Huai, to our marriage, until he even put his relationship with Luo Shu above everything else. The more I listened, the more upset Dad seemed to be. He looked at me with a furious expression, pretending to be angry. I already said back then that he wasn't someone worth entrusting one's life to. Look at how he treated you just 3 years after we got married. I acted like a little child who had done something wrong, listening obediently to Dad's complaints in my ear. Seeing my obedient and apologetic demeanor, Dad sighed helplessly. "Don't worry, Dad will definitely find a man who is 100 times better than Lu Huai. As for those who have hurt you, Dad won't let any of them go unpunished. Dad, I've decided that I won't marry anyone for the rest of my life." I took Dad's hand, acting affectionately. "I want to be by your side for the rest of my life. After experiencing what happened with Lu Huai, I no longer have any expectations regarding relationships. Instead of spending time with men, I would rather spend more time with my father." Although my father didn't say anything verbally, he still instructed Butler Wang to find some outstanding single men within the circle. It's not clear how Butler Wang managed to do this, but within a few days, he gathered a lot of information about these handsome men. Every day, my father would look at the photos of these men carefully, choosing the most attractive one. From time to time, he would ask my opinions. Unable to resist his influence, I chose the most handsome man from the bunch of photos. My father was immediately delighted and arranged a time for us to meet. The man's name was Shen Xiai. He was the heir of the Shen family, one of the 4 major families in the capital. In the past, he managed to gain the right to inherit the family fortune through his cunning tactics. In just a few years, he managed to increase the assets of the Shen Corporation several times. This made the other families, who were eager to take over, completely submissive. A few years ago, he went to Country M to explore overseas markets. He isn't in the country right now, but stories about the myth he created in the business world still come back occasionally. Shen Xiai has a French restaurant where he works. I thought someone as busy as Shen Xiai wouldn't care about having dates like this. But when I arrived at the private room, Shen Xiai was already there, waiting for me. He's quite tall, at least 6 feet 2. His facial features are perfect. Sharp eyebrows, a high nose. There's nothing wrong with his appearance at all. Combined with his well-proportioned body, he becomes the most dazzling figure in the crowd. Even though I've seen his photos before, I still was surprised to see him in person for the first time. Dad was right, he's much more handsome than Lu Huai. When he saw me arrive, Shen Xiai greeted me with grace. He always took care to make sure I was comfortable during every situation, asking for my opinion before doing anything. Overall, it was a pretty nice experience. The only thing that wasn't very good was that he talked too little. After the meal, Shen Xiai offered to take me back. I happily accepted his offer, but just as I was about to leave, Lu Huai's voice sounded behind me. Ran, what are you doing here? Lu Huai stepped forward and stood in front of me. When he saw that Shen Xiai was standing next to me, his pupils suddenly widened in surprise. What's going on here? How can you be with him? I gave Shen Xiai a sorry look, signaling him to wait for me for a few minutes. Then I turned to look at Lu Huai, who seemed very nervous. Lu Huai, I'm about to divorce you. Who I'm with doesn't matter to you, does it? Divorce? Lu Huai seemed to hear some ridiculous statement. Ran, I told you long ago that I wouldn't divorce you. Lu Huai, if you don't want to divorce, that's your problem. I've already hired a lawyer to handle the matter. It's up to the judge to decide then. After saying that, I turned around and wanted to leave. Lu tightly grabbed my hand, his voice filled with excitement. Ran, we're not even divorced yet. How can you be with another man? Can you really live up to me? I raised my hand and gave him a slap. Lu Huai, before you say this, you should ask yourself first. Did you really sleep with Luo Shu and end up having a child with her? At that time, why didn't you ask yourself first? Were you worthy of me? Hearing my question, Lu Huai seemed somewhat unsure of himself. After a long silence, he finally spoke slowly. Ran, it was indeed my fault that I didn't think through the situation properly. Can you give me a chance? I will definitely improve. I refused without hesitation. No, from the moment you cursed me in the hospital, saying that I wasn't worthy of being a mother, you were never worthy of my forgiveness. Remembering that day, Lu Huai's face showed a trace of regret. Ran, I was too angry that day. I said things that weren't true. Don't take it seriously. You know, I only love you. Is that so? I asked coldly. If you really loved me, you wouldn't have watched me fall to the ground without any emotion. Nor would you have killed your own child. What? What kind of child? Lu Huai was momentarily stunned, then asked with confusion. Lu Huai, if you really want to know, you can check the surveillance footage yourself. I said everything that needed to be said. I didn't pay much attention to him anymore, and instead walked straight towards Shen Xiai. Ran, tell me, are you carrying my child? After carefully thinking about what happened that day, Lu Huai finally understood everything. He tried to chase after them without hesitation, but Shen Xiai stopped him with a simple gesture. What does it matter to you if I ask my wife some questions? Who do you think you are, to even try to stop me? Seeing Lu Huai's confident demeanor, Shen Xiai sneered with a mocking laugh. You always claim to be Ran's husband, but have you ever thought about the fact that you've hurt Ran many times because of other women? Have you ever considered that she is your wife? And besides, I'm nothing special. Right now, I'm just one of many men who have tried to get Ran Ran's attention. But compared to all the terrible things you've done to Ran Ran, you don't even deserve to be called a man at all. Hearing Shen Xi's words, Lu Huai tried to argue, but after a long time, he couldn't say anything in response. It seemed like some thought had struck him, as if his soul had been extracted from him. His eyes remained empty, staring blankly ahead, unable to come back to reality for a long time. Shen Xi drove me home, and I politely thanked him. Before getting out of the car, I couldn't help but ask, Shen Xi, do you know about the past events that happened to me? To be honest, I was shocked when Shen Xi mentioned that Lu Huai had done many things that hurt me. After all, someone like him, who is always busy with many matters, would hardly pay attention to such trivial matters. Hearing this, Shen Xi turned around, his beautiful black eyes fixed on me. I learned about some of these things before coming here. Perhaps worried that I would doubt him, he added, everyone has their own past. You shouldn't dwell on those things too much. What needs to be let go, should be let go, especially those unimportant people and events. Shen Xi was right. People must always look forward. I can't keep holding on to the hurt that Lu Huai caused me. Nor can I, because of this, avoid pursuing my own happiness. Once I regained my senses, Lu Huai rushed off to the hospital. He had obtained the surveillance footage from that day. He didn't know why, but the moment he clicked play, his hands began to tremble uncontrollably. On the screen, it was shown that Gu Xinran was waiting for the results of the examination. Soon after, Luo Shu approached. She first tried to greet Gu Xinran in a polite manner, but soon revealed her true nature. When she heard that Luo Shu was humiliating Gu Xinran, even trying to take away everything from her, Lu Huan felt his heart tighten with pain. His eyes turned red as he stared at the screen. When he saw Gu Xinran being pushed aside by Luo Shu, and Gu Xinran lost her balance, falling onto the armrest of the chair, Lu Huan felt as if his heart had been emptied out of him. He collapsed to the ground, feeling utterly powerless. Gu Xinran was already afraid of pain. Usually, even a minor bump could require Lu Huan to comfort her for a long time before she could calm down. He knew all this, yet he still pushed her with such force. Even after she fell to the ground, he said those hurtful words to her. Lu Huan felt overwhelmed by guilt and slapped himself several times. As soon as he stopped, he saw Gu Xinran bleeding from the lower part of her body. She lay there, covered in blood, watching as he left without hesitation. At that moment, Gu Xinran was in utter despair. Her child was gone, and he was the one who caused all this suffering. Thinking of this, Lu Huan suddenly burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, I actually killed my own child. I'm a murderer. This is retribution. After a short while, Lu Huai drove back to the villa, his eyes still glowing red. Luo Shu didn't know what had happened yet, and she coquettily said to him, "Ah Huai, why did you come back so late? I want to eat what you made for me." Before she could finish her sentence, Luo Shu realized something was wrong. Lu Huai's face was pale as steel, his fists clenched tightly, and he walked towards her step by step, like a king of hell demanding punishment. Luo Shu stepped back in fear, ready to run away, but Lu Huai blocked her way. Before she could react, Lu Huai grabbed her neck tightly. Ah Huai, what are you doing? I feel so bad. Luo Shu cried out in pain, without trying to win Lu Huai's sympathy at all. Instead, she pulled harder. Luo Shu, why did you lie to me? Luo Shu could feel her breathing becoming more difficult. If this continued, she would die. Taking advantage of Lu Huan's inattention, she raised her hand and punched him hard in the eyes. Lu Huan felt the pain and unconsciously let go of the hand that had been restraining Luo Shu's neck. Luo Shu took deep breaths, with just one word in her mind: run. But before she could even walk a few steps, Lu Huan grabbed her tightly. Luo Shu, you've done so many bad things. Do you really want to run away? Luo Shu knew that things were exposed, and she didn't want to make any excuses. She hurriedly admitted her mistakes. Lu Huan, I was wrong, but I did all these things because I love you. Besides, we already have a baby. Let's live a good life together. Please don't worry about these things anymore, okay? When she mentioned the child, Lu Huan was momentarily stunned. He couldn't help but remember that night during the business trip. That night, he drank a lot of alcohol, but he remained conscious. Luo Shu prepared a drink to help him sober up, and she also carefully massaged his head. He subconsciously pushed away Luo Shu. Unexpectedly, Luo Shu not only didn't leave, but instead clung to him. She wore a deep V strapless dress and wrapped her arms around his neck. She expressed her deep affection for him. In fact, he had already realized that Luo Shu was interested in him, but he decided not to act rashly with her, so he kept his feelings hidden from her. Just as he was about to push her away, Luo Shu hugged him tightly, like a octopus. Luo Shu said that her parents really wanted a grandson. Since she liked him, she could give birth to a child for him. She even promised that once the child was born, she would leave, so as not to affect their relationship. In this way, Gu Xinran wouldn't be blamed by her parents for not being able to have a child. He also hoped to have a descendant of his own. So, he quickly became tempted. He believed that Gu Xinran would understand his feelings. 2 months later, Luo Shu indeed became pregnant. Unexpectedly, Gu Xinran didn't accept this situation at all. After Gu Xinran left home, he was very anxious. He tried several times to go after her, but Luo Shu said that Gu Xinran was just trying to play hardball. Women shouldn't be spoiled, otherwise they will become spoiled and arrogant. So, he followed Luo Shu's advice. He deliberately took her out to play, and even let the media take pictures of them together. He believed that Gu Xinran loved him very much and would return soon. But when they met again, he saw that she wanted to hit Luo Shu, and with Luo Shu's provocation, he believed her words without thinking. He committed the stupid act of killing his own child. If it weren't for Luo Shu's schemes, he wouldn't have had any relationship with her at all, and he wouldn't have ended up in this situation with Gu Xinran. So, the real culprit here isn't him. It's Luo Shu. Seeing that Lu Huai didn't make any move, Luo Shu became very anxious. She tentatively called out, "Ah Huai, I love you, we should." Slap. Before she could finish her sentence, Lu Huai slapped her in the face. "Lu Huai, I'm pregnant with a child. You can't hit me like that." Luo Shu covered her face, trying to use the child as a means to provoke his rationality. But what awaited her was yet another harsh slap from Lu Huai. "How dare you even mention children? If it weren't for you, how could I kill my own child?" At this moment, Lu Huai had completely lost his mind. He grabbed Luo Shu and laughed in her ear like a demon. "Luo Shu, you caused me to kill my own child. Your child in your belly doesn't even deserve to exist anymore." With that, Lu Huai kicked Luo Shu hard in the stomach. Luo Shu was so in pain that she almost died on the spot. She struggled to get up, holding on to her consciousness. Before I could even take a step forward, Lu Huai grabbed my head and started slapping me continuously. "Ah, stop. It hurts so much. Lu Huai, I'm going to die." No matter how I begged, Lu Huai didn't stop his violent actions. I heard from Lu Huai again a few days later. Housekeeper Wang said that Lu Huai had been arrested for the crime of intentional injury. What awaited him was a lifetime in prison. His company also collapsed due to his father's withdrawal from the business. And with no one to lead it, it couldn't survive anymore. As for Luo Shu, she suffered severe injuries and had her uterus removed. She was no longer able to reproduce. After learning all this, Luo Shu became mentally ill and was sent to a psychiatric hospital. I listened to all this calmly, without any emotions, because I had already started a new life of my own. After that day, I tried to date Shen Xi. It turned out that he wasn't as cold and distant as people said. On the contrary, he was very caring and gentle. He would always bring me small gifts every day. He would also invite me to watch movies together. He would even accompany me to explore various delicious snacks. I have to say, he is really a great partner. One day, Shen Xi invited me to try a new Cantonese restaurant that just opened. After work, I couldn't wait to head to the parking lot. Unexpectedly, I met Luo Shu, who had escaped from a mental hospital. Her hair was messy, her face was twisted, and she seemed like a ghost, wielding a sharp dagger at me. "Gu Xinran, die!" At that critical moment, Shen Xi's tall figure stood between me and her. Seeing the blood flowing from his abdomen, I became worried. "Shen Xi, you're hurt." But he laughed dismissively, saying, "It's okay, as long as you're not hurt." At that moment, I wanted to cry, but I knew it wasn't the time to be emotional. So I immediately took Shen Xi to the hospital. As for Luo Shu, she was quickly dealt with by the bodyguards surrounding Shen Xi. Thankfully, the treatment was timely, And Shensi didn't suffer any serious injuries. I saw a ugly scar suddenly appearing on his lower abdomen. I felt very guilty. Shensi hugged me tightly and said with a smile, "It's okay. I'm quite strong. Believe me, Mrs. Shen can check it tonight." Hearing those words from Mrs. Shen, my face turned red, and I couldn't help but grin. "Who is your wife?" At those words, a hint of sadness appeared on Shensi's handsome face. "When can Ran Ran become my wife?" I wrapped my arms around his neck and smiled. "That depends on your performance." After saying that, I looked up and kissed his beautiful lips. Shensi was stunned for a moment, but soon he took control, placing his hand on the back of my head. During the moment of passion, Shensi suddenly kissed my earlobe and said gently, "Ran Ran, I love you." I also love you."